CAT 2024 LRDI section. Like last year, this year also the CAT LRDI section was quite easy. We're going to solve the slot 1 puzzle 1 today. It says two students, Amiya and Ramya, are the only candidates in an election for the position of class representative. Students will vote based on the intensity level of Amiya's and Ramya's campaign, the level of campaign they run. Each campaign is said to have a level of 1 if it is a staid campaign and a level of 2 if it is a vigorous campaign. Campaigns can be of two types, either focus on issues or an attacks on the each other. If Amiya and Ramya both run campaigns focusing on issues, then the percentage of students voting in the election will be 20 times the sum of levels of campaigning of two students. What does it mean? For example, if Amiya and Ramya both run vigorous campaign, now vigorous campaign that means level 2. So we're going to sum 2 plus 2, 4 multiplied by 20. That means 80% of the students will be voting in the election. Now, among the people who are voting, the percentage of votes for each candidate will be proportional to the levels of their campaign. So, for example, Amiya runs a state that is level 1 campaign and Ramya runs a vigorous campaign level 2. Then Amiya will receive 1 by 3 of the votes and Ramya will receive 2 by 3. That means the ratio going to be 1 is to 2. That means level is 1 is to level 2. Now let's summarize this information before we go ahead, because in CAT it is very important to summarize the information what exactly we get. So let's say first of all there are two kind of campaign they have: the staid campaign which has a level 1, the vigorous campaign that has a level 2. This is the first information given to us. The second information they are giving us that it can be focusing on issues versus attacking each other. So the strategy can be adopted by both the candidate. They can have the same strategy or they can have different strategies also. And how they are being the number of voters we are calculating, that is level 1, or we can say level of Amiya plus level of Ramya, either 1 or 2 or 1 both or 2 both, multiplied by 20. Now that is the number of voters who gonna vote in the election. That is the percentage we got. Out of this percentage, the votes Amiya and Ramya gets, that is as in the ratio of their levels. That is also we are aware about. Now let's go with the further information what they have given to us. The above mentioned campaign changes. So this was for the focusing on issues campaign. Now other mentioned percent changes as follows: if at least one of them runs a campaign attacking their opponent. Now if Amiya runs a campaign attacking Ramya and Ramya runs a campaign focusing on issues, then 10% of the students who would have otherwise voted for Amiya will vote for Ramya. That means the person who is attacking the other one, that person going to get lesser votes. 10% will vote for Ramya in that case if Amiya attacks Ramya, and the 10% will be voted who voted for Amiya, who would like to vote, they will not vote. So let's summarize this also. So this case, the first case which we had, that was when they are both focusing on issues. Now the next case which we have where Amiya is attacking and Ramya is focusing on issues. Now in this particular case, here the first case no one was attacking. Now in this particular case, what's going to happen? 10% of Amiya votes will go to Ramya and 10% of Amiya vote will not vote anyone. Let's understand the next line which they have, next condition. This is done. Now Ramya runs a campaign attacking Amiya and Amiya runs a campaign focusing on issue. The vice versa going to be. But this time, instead of 10%, 20% of the students who would have otherwise voted for Ramya will vote for Amiya and the 5% will not vote at all. So let's summarize this also. So it goes vice versa. Now if Amiya is focusing and Ramya is attacking, that means 20% of Ramya votes will go to Amiya and 5% of Ramya votes will not be given to anyone. The last condition. If both run campaigns attacking each other, then 10% of the students who would have otherwise voted for there had not vote at all. So everything is in comparison to the focusing on issues. So the last condition, if they both are attacking, Amiya is attacking on Ramaya, Ramaya is attacking on Amiya, in that case, 10% of total votes, they will not vote anyone. I hope this summarization is clear, because if I am able to summarize the question in CAT, and that means I can do my questions well. Now let's go to the question number one. If both of them run staid campaign, staid means level 1, attacking the other, that means condition 4, case 4 which we had on the other page, then what percent of students will vote in election? Now let's find it out. Now both are attacking, Amiya and Ramaya, they both are running staid campaign. That means LA and LR, they're going to be 1 plus 1, that is 2 into 20. That means total 40% people are voting. And out of this 40%, 10% will not vote for anyone because they both are attacking. That means 10% of 40, that is 4, they will not vote for anyone. That means 36% people will be voting only. Quite simple. I don't think again LRDI was a challenge for the students. The answer gonna be 36%. Quite simple it was. The next question we have. What is the minimum percent of students who will vote in the election? Now, what is the minimum percentage? First of all, the level has to be 1 and 1. That means 40% will be people will be voting. Now here 10% of people will not vote out of Amiya. Here 5% of Ramaya. And in the last case, 10% of total. Now, when the level are same, then the minimum number of people are voting, and out of those only, because one has to focus, one has to attack, or both has to focus or both has to attack, the last condition gives me 10% reduction, that is 36%, like in the last question. The 5% of Ramaya, that means 5% of 20 in this case. In the third case, in this particular case, only 5% of Ramaya, that means 1%, 20% ka 5. And in this case, 10% of Amaya, that means only 2%. But in this case, 4% people will not vote. The answer going to be 36 once again. That means the answer to the second question was also 36. It was quite easy, guys, not tough. The third question we had. If Amaya runs a campaign focusing on issues, then what is the maximum percentage of votes she can get if Amaya runs on focusing on issues? Now, if Amaya runs on focusing on issues, then there is one case we have here. The other case we have here, let's change the color so it will be easy to understand. Now, in the next question, if Amaya is going to focus, so one is this case, second case is this. Sorry. And the next thing which we have to tell, that maximum percentage votes Amaya gonna get. Now, maximum vote Amaya gonna get, how much it can be? Now, to maximum votes Amaya can get in this particular case, if I make 2 plus 2, the level I will make vigorous. 2 plus 2, 4 into 20, 80% votes. But out of 80%, they're both going to get 40-40. Amaya also will get 40. Ramaya will also get 40. If I take the second case, now 20%, if Ramaya is attacking, I mean 20% of Ramaya, that means 20% of 40, that means 8%. So from here 8% minus, here 8% plus. So this became 48% now. And 5% Ramaya will not vote. That means Amaya may get maximum 48% votes. So the answer to the third question should be 48%. The next one. If Ramaya runs a campaign attacking Amaya, then what is the minimum percentage of votes she is guaranteed to get? Now Ramaya runs a campaign attacking Amaya. Now if Ramaya attacks, that means, let's change the color once again. Now if Ramaya attacks, that means either we are talking about this case or we are talking about this case. And the question says how much minimum percentage of what she is guaranteed to get. Now minimum, that means I make to make sure that level should be 1, which is staid. So 1 plus 1, 2 into 20. That means 40% people gonna vote. And the minimum Ramaya should get. Out of this 40%, 10% will not vote. That means 36% will remain. And as the levels are same, so they both will get 18 and 18. Now what is going to in this case? In this case, level is again the same, 40%. Now 20% of Ramaya. Now that means when they are getting 20 and 20, 20% of Ramaya, that means 4%. So minus 4 plus 4, that will go to Amaya. This is Amaya and this is Ramaya. And then 5% of Ramaya, that means 5% of 20, that is 1. That means it will be only 15% of the votes that she's going to get minimum. That means she cannot go below 15%. So 15% comes out to be the answer. The last part of this puzzle was what are the maximum people voting margin with one of the candidates can win. In one case, if there is a one is this have the same level, or maximum can be 20. One is having level 1, other is having level 2. So 1 is to 2 and 60 ka 1 is to 2. If we do, that will be 20 and 40. That is a 20% difference can come here. In this particular case, the 10% of Amaya goes to Ramaya and 10% of people do not vote. Total of 20% of Amaya's vote will get reduced. But in this case, 25% of votes get reduced. So this gives me a hint that I should get my answer from this particular calculation. Let's do some calculation here and let's understand that. Because we have to increase the depth of the margin. So we need to ensure Amaya should get maximum and Ramaya should get less. So that can be possible if Amaya has level 2 and Ramaya has level 1. That means the number of votes will be 60%. That 1 plus 2, 3 into 20, 60. And Amaya will get 40% from there. Ramaya will get 20% from there. The difference is 20%. Now Ramaya gonna attack, so she will lose 20% of her votes. That means minus 4% goes to Amaya, and 5% of her votes, that means 1%, that will not go to anyone. That means Ramaya gonna have 15% and Amaya gonna have 44%. Now, the margin between 44 and 15, That is 29%. This is the maximum we can have because here we said it's going to be 20% maximum. In this case, we have checked where it is 16%. It was just before which we tried. And the best answer which we can get, the maximum margin we can get, that is 29% from this particular part. I hope this is quite clear. Let's check the answer also now. It is here 29%. This puzzle gets over in. Thank you so much for this time. We'll come back to the next puzzle very soon. Thank you so much. Take care.